And you come alive like a melody.
We titled this record Lights of Distant Cities after a song called Lights of Distant Cities. And it's one of those things where I had just been coming out of this season in my life where I was really struggling with a little bit feeling spiritually vulnerable, a little bit feeling spiritually lost, to be honest, and kind of in a way in a place where I just felt a certain level of numbness emotionally that I had not felt in a long time, and especially in regards to my relationship with God. And it was a really painstaking process to start recognizing and remembering that love and faith is as much about decision and choice as it is about emotion and feeling. But I feel like I was at this season in my life where I was really frustrated with God, honestly, because I was just kept asking this question over and over again of how long do I continue to wait to have emotion and feeling again? Because I feel like I've spent all this time struggling to feel what it feels to be in rich relationship with God, and it just didn't seem like it was happening. And so I think that in the process of writing this record, there was this kind of pivotal moment where God began to sort of revive that part, sort of this season of recovery for me. And so Lights of Distant Cities became this metaphor for me of all the things that pull us forward in life. It's the things that we can see in the distance, it's the things that are mysterious to us, that we don't quite know what is there, but they're all the things that push us in a certain direction and pull us in a certain direction. And for me in my life, that's how God has spoken to me, and that's how He's moved in my life and continued to move me forward. And so in those seasons of darkness, in those seasons where I don't feel like I hear a voice, suddenly you come around a bend and you see something in the distance that's mysterious and beautiful, and you don't quite know what it is, but it lures you in such a beautiful and passionate way, and it gives you emotion and hope and all of those beautiful feelings again. And that thing that's luring you in ultimately is God Himself, and it's just the way that He's worked in my life. Well, this particular recording process was very different for me and unusual and new in a lot of ways. I think for one, because I recorded with my friend Gabe Scott, who has been my longtime counterpart playing shows live on the road. He's been my band leader when I have a band, and when I don't have a band, he is the band when we play acoustic shows. And so that in and of itself was a brand new experience. It was his first record that he had ever produced, but we also had our friend Ben Shive, who has produced lots of records, to sort of be the kind of experienced one, I think, of the bunch of us. But the real gift of it to me was taking the musical genius of Ben, the musical genius of Gabe, these two guys that have this incredible ability to pull sounds and to create sounds and to lay these musical kind of beds, if you will, underneath these songs. And Gabe in particular, his idea from the beginning was he wanted to create these sonic sort of landscapes for every song that represented the emotion of that song. So in other words, what does joy sound like if it was played by an instrument? What does heartache sound like if it was played by an instrument? What is loneliness or heartbreak or hope? All of those kind of things were the things that Gabe wanted to express on a musical level, and that Ben had these tools to bring in to help us express on that musical level, to where before we ever even started recording the vocals, we had this song that felt like the lyrics of the song already. And so it became for me one of the most cathartic experiences of producing a record, because the music so closely resembled and represented and propped up the lyrics. And I've always been such a lyric guy, that to have that kind of a musical thing happen that already spoke the lyrics before I ever even had to sing them, for me, that in and of itself made it one of the most unique processes, and probably for me one of the most fulfilling processes of making a record that I've ever had in my life.
That was my surprise look.
I'm about to be 18 years in the world of playing music, and this is, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 records I've made, and I feel like I finally am to a point in my life where I feel very comfortable making a record musically that I really just want to make, and trust that it'll land on the ears that it wants to land on, and if it doesn't land on other ears, then I think that's okay. But the reality is, and this has been the interesting thing so far, is that the fans that have heard the songs so far have embraced it in a way that I didn't expect, to be honest. And so I think what happened on this record is that we created things. Certain songs are bigger, certain songs have a different sound. Our intent from the very, very beginning was to create music that really felt fresh and exciting and new for us, honestly. Me and Gabe, who'd played together for 10 years and started writing songs together, brought Ben on board because he added such an element of being able to just stretch the limits a little bit on what we created. And on one hand, that made me nervous because of whether Christian radio would play those songs or not, or whether my fans might want to hear those songs or not. But I think that what we ended up with was a group of songs and a record that if people are really wanting to stretch themselves a little bit, if people are really wanting to kind of push the limits a little bit on what might be typical, then this is a record I think they might really gravitate towards, and I think they might really find something in it that not only they enjoy, but radio people in particular, that their listeners might really enjoy. That's a scary prospect in a lot of ways, because I've had so much radio success in the past that it's an interesting thing to step in a direction that may not go that route. You know, who knows? But I think the beauty for me is that that these songs are true to themselves, and I think people that really love music will dive into that and enjoy it in a way that they might not have expected. Hi, this is Bebo Norman. I have a new CD coming out on October 22nd of 2012. It's called Lights of Distant Cities. You can find it on iTunes, your local bookstores, local music stores. Please go check it out.